Yeah, that's definitely a very fair point. So long as even if she dives in with the killer instinct, you could immediately go in for that pulverize, knock up in the middle of the air. And BURIRAM United, I feel like they're getting a very standard take, but still having a lot of burst potential. So Boom Esports having a little bit more mobility to make a little bit more happen heading into the mid game onwards. Corki definitely needs a little bit more time to scale, but what are they going to pair that up with?
Corki. Well, I was about to say J4, but looks like BURIRAM, they're one step ahead, already locking in with that jungler. I was really waiting for Boom Esports to pick up Ziggs just so I can say, and then they went boom. Whenever the Mega Inferno bomb will be thrown out. But apparently, still going over to BURIRAM. There is still Xin Zhao though, if ever Boom Esports want to pick up this champion. But a Yasuo finding his way into Boom's draft.
Now with the Yasuo coming right in, I believe that this is still a very flexible composition. But most likely than not, he will ideally want Fly Arthur on that Yasuo so that you can block any of all these grenades that are being tossed by the Ziggs, while you could also place it perfectly to cancel out Mega Infernal Bomb. That's something that you can actually take good note of. But are we seeing a first time
lock it in
of that Evelyn? I'm excited for this. They did lock that in, Yuko.
Evelyn has very quick clear. So Shao Ki will be able to just roam around the map. Plus the charms, it's gonna be a problem for possibly Kinemon or even Archie. Also, you touch up on Fly Arthur's Yasuo if ever that will be in the mid lane. He has a 66.7% win rate on this Yasuo. Let's see, will it be better after this game, or will we see it go a little bit down?
Well, we definitely do have some break brawl going up the Baron lane here. And we are seeing the debut of a Pantheon. Now you can either put the Jarvan or the Pantheon on that Baron lane and still have a little bit more room in the jungle. Either or still works fine. I think that BURIRAM United definitely coming in strong with a little bit more pressure with the existence of this Pantheon that can just man drop into team fights.
Man, with the draft already set, I really cannot wait to see if will we see a 1-1 or will it be a 2-0.
I'm curious here, guys, because it almost feels like to me that Twisted Fate is overrated, that Galio is outdated, and now Pantheon is my new global best friend, because he's going to be looking to try and man drop everywhere and say you can ban it or you can't, because I'm looking at this draft. The Galio and Twisted Fate are available, but they've still gone for the Pantheon. What on earth is happening? Have they gone mental, Boom? Well, Boom Esports are going to be up against the Ziggs, the master of all things, Boom. So let's throw it back to our casting team, and welcome back Grant and TJ.
Thanks so much, Kimmy. We're looking forward to see how this one turns out, to see exactly how the Pantheon plays. I know you're a little bit surprised about that. We're going to get hyped. We're going to get excited to see this game and hopefully make TJ shout loud enough to wake up his cat.
Sorry, I was catching what was sent my way by Contra there. He just threw it across the little space arena. Yeah, no, this is actually a really fun draft. Normally we break games down into early game, late game. When is your activation? And there's a little bit of that here. Boom obviously want to wait for that Corki to come online. No such problems over on BURIRAM, as they do have the early game potential of that Braum Kai'Sa lane. But I think the more interesting division for this game is in 5v5s versus skirmishes. Skirmishes defining 2v2s, 3v3s, the smaller fights that break out on the map. I think BURIRAM win those because they have the casual comp. They have this Braum Kai'Sa unit. They have this Ziggs Jarvan unit that combos very well. But if you start setting up for the 5v5, Boom have a ton of backline damage that can dump over the top. This Alistair Renekton functions as a really good front line. And of course, that sets up for Fly Arthur on the combos. They fight really well front to back, with the Corki doing the majority of the damage, with the Evelyn sneaking around the side. If they can't engineer those 5v5s, though, I don't think they beat BURIRAM, and BURIRAM are going to have the tools to keep them in 3v3, especially with, as the Desp is talking about, that global presence from Pantheon.
Very crafted fights that Boom Esports have to look towards as they want to take on BRU as we move into our second match in the second series as well. It's going to be Boom Esports versus BURIRAM United.
Here we go. I was talking about controlling the 3v3, the skirmishes on the map. I think the Pantheon is going to be key to that, but also watch the rotations of Boom, because if they play this right, they're never going to have to fight a situation that BURIRAM can turn into a man advantage 2v3 or 3v4. And that's the key thing they need to avoid, especially during the early game. Once Boom get past, I would say, the 10-minute mark, once we get past the second item, this Yasuo is going to start doing a ton of damage, this Evelynn is going to start doing a ton of damage, and the Corki is going to start doing a ton of damage. And at that point, it's actually really hard for BURIRAM with their composition to fight front to back to win a full-on team fight.
Well, it does seem like BURIRAM will find the initial engage to jump on Flyata and punish this Yasuo pickup. So, DJ, just as you're starting to sing accolades for this Yasuo, talking about this 10-minute mark, BURIRAM want to put a stop to that just 1 minute into the game.
Yeah, and that's the right call. BURIRAM, their strengths lie in exactly that sort of thing. They have really good pieces, individual skirmishes and 2v2s. They have a lot of plug-and-play abilities and characters that can work with any combination of other abilities on this team. So whenever there's just a couple odd people in the mid lane fighting a 2v2, couple odd people positioning around the jungle fighting a 3v3, expect BURIRAM to come out on top.
We've been seeing quite a couple of interesting pickups from Celtic. He's been one of the players that has probably one of the highest unique champion pick rate. As we see once again, they're looking to catch off Flyata to find a good amount of damage on him.
Wow.
Does he have the wind wall? I don't quite see it come through yet. He has to burn the flash as well. But the spear comes through either way. A second for BRU.
And it's the same engagement twice. Fly Arthur just really having to walk forward to manage the wave, having to step up into the minion wave, because of course he's playing Yasuo, who's a short little sword. And every time he does that, Archeni throws his satchel charge behind him, knocks him away from the minion wave, too far forward to properly retreat. And here comes Shiba out of the jungle with a stun. Oh, yeah, it happens twice in a row, and it costs Boom a lot of their mid-game potential.
Now you're playing a different spot, TJ. Flyata is trying to play fencing. Shiba's trying to go for the javelin toss. It's not quite a fair. It's not quite a fair trade. So it's going to cost him a little bit here. And Celtic has quite a diverse champion pool. I kind of want to talk a little bit about this. The fact that we've seen him playing really a jungle and now transitioning to the Evelynn and how this one's going to pan out for this team. Well, this is interesting. Oh, no. Finally gets punished. They get to take him down. Dove with a nice move top.
Yeah, Govern, the top lane, gets caught out there. Able to kind of pivot in right as Tufts is about to die. And that's actually really good for the team. I'll talk about your points about Shiba, or sorry, Zhao in a moment, because I think that's very important. But first I want to talk about the way Gov just moved across the map.
All right.
Because Tufts doesn't manage to win the early lane. He's really far behind. He's getting bullied by the Jarvan. But you have Corki down bottom, who is decent wave clear. So Gov finds a moment where the wave is crashing and rotates all the way up top, saves the day up there, perfectly timed, then gets back down bottom with no loss to his AD carry.
Well, thanks for dropping us a little bit of insight there, TJ. And it looked like Supporter was trying to get a little bit of pressure back for himself as well. Went towards the mid side, and Shiba was there as well. Maybe trying to get a kill on the Flyata, but they spot that one out quickly. And so we're back towards talking about these jungle pickups. As Celtic, he's going to start up this dragon.
Well, Shachi playing the Evelynn is a little bit of an off-meta pick. We haven't seen so many of them recently. Oh, and we're going to get a fight.
Well, Flyata, he's committed to this fight. The Glacial Fisher comes through, and Windwall's actually going to block a decent amount of damage. But here we go. Shiba joins in. They jump right back onto the Yasuo. Once again punished. Set back to place, playing with a gray screen, and they move on to the dragon. BURIRAM United say thank you very much.
And again, we're waiting for things to come online for Boom. Fly Arthur doesn't have damage yet, especially after his early laning. So Shiba just looks at that and says, well, I'm not at the dragon fight, but granted, I could be. If I press this ability, this is a man advantage fight for us, a 4v3, sure. Because they're split off. Tufts, don't do this.
Well, he really does want to look for something here. He's flashing forward, in fact, with the concussive blows, plus the knockout confirmed the kill. It's a killing spree, as they're now moving back in onto the red pearl, but Gov's looking low. Flyata, he's finally come online. He has the damage that they're looking for, but unfortunately, the kite back from the well is keeping them safe. Celtic finds a double through the midst of that chaos, but he can't in rain. Trades back, and BRU still come up ahead.
2 for 3 it's a narrow win for Boom in terms of man advantage, but I agree BURIRAM do come out ahead because they take the Rift Herald, which is going to mean that they get an extra turret, a decent chunk of gold on top of their already impressive gold lead. I wasn't a huge fan of that fight, but because of the full committal, we get a tease of what I was so excited for with this composition, which is the 5-on-5 potential. When everyone is here for Boom, they're able to combo really well in terms of what their composition wants to do. The chaos created in the front line by the melees means that it's very easy for an Evelyn to just dance through, for a Corki to just dance through that wave after wave of CC and find value.
Well, we're also looking to see how they find value as they take down Flyata once again here, perhaps. Gov joins in, knocks him back. Noel stuck on the turret. He doesn't have anywhere to go. And Sheba, he's back in the midst of things. Trades back on for one. Won't be able to quite find the second. Almost takes down Owens.
Gov playing incredibly well again. Comes in, perfect timing on the rotate. Manages to turn the trade advantage for Boom. And it's going to get better for them as they've called out Archini here.
Oh boy, they really have. And just outside of his turret, he's just barely away from his safe house. Does manage to get the honey through in time. The ignite comes through from Gov. They're looking for this dive. Beautiful flash away. But the damage won't be enough. But with the barrier, he finds a double.
Archini just manages to turn the 1v2 using the turret and perfectly timing his cooldowns. Saving the barrier, saving the honey fruit for when they're most needed, saving the flash for when he's about to get knocked out from behind the turret. A beautiful 1v2, a beautiful understanding of what his opponents are going to do, and it's going to reward BURIRAM not only with the advantage in this lane, but with their first turret without even needing to use the Rift Herald. They also, during this time, broke the top turret, so it's 2 tier 1s passed over.
Honestly, we've been talking about how Gov has been the main man to watch for Boom Esports, and he set up the play pretty well there. They went for the dive, but Archini had such an incredible sequence to really dodge away from that. And we've also been Shiba coming really far online this game. It's been difficult for them to deal with. Half of their Grand Skyfall is to get into the map. The other half is to make Skimmy a happy man. Skimmy is talking a lot about this, and we're starting to see this Pantheon pay off so well as the engage comes through from BRU. They're looking to try and take down Owens right away, but over the fight, Gov has tried to buy space and time for the rest of his team. Flyata jumps in with the last breath. They're moving on to Kingdom On with the Captain Rain taking him down. There isn't enough time in the world to survive the onslaught from BURIRAM United, who are chasing after a third, a fourth, and they're looking to take them all down.
Excellent split of the fight. Instantly knocks Owens down to 1 HP. He's just a non-factor in that team fight. It operates essentially as a 5v4, which is an obvious advantage to BURIRAM. They still pull under threat. It's still a little bit dangerous, but because the majority damage is sat on this Corki, who just doesn't get to play that team fight, BURIRAM take a very clean win, and they're going to get resets. This fight for the Drake, which they're advantaged in, which BURIRAM are advantaged in, they very well decide the game.
It's been pretty impressive how well they've been able to shut down Flyata, who's shown us on multiple occasions what happens with him. As it does seem like BRU start to set up around this dragon. Just 9 minutes in the game, gold lead building up. Gov, he's going into BRU, trying to find the engagement for his team, but he's blown up so quickly, and Tough soon to follow right after. Flyata jumps over the wall, but right on his tail, it's Supporter who has his number. They take down another by the side, and once again, BRU collect everything here.
And once again, Owens has no part in that fight, spending the package defensively, jetting away from the fight, meaning that the Corki finds absolutely 0 damage, and BURIRAM, despite their hold to it, don't have anyone to follow up the initial engage from Flyata and Gov.
Show this guy some respect. Boom Esports haven't been able to execute their composition at all. Gov has been making some nice moves, but hasn't been enough. BRU so quick to the rotation, bringing in this Pantheon. You know, we have to wonder. I think you had a little discussion as well with Omo TJ about this. But it looks like
Playing hero catches out Gov.
Jump onto the Alistar first. They're going to take him down, but the Alistar ulti keeping him pretty safe, pretty tanked up for now. Don't see he's going to get knocked back over by the side end. They're just looking to back away here, perhaps.
Anytime you have to spend the ult like that, it feels bad. Spending it just as an escape tool. And you can see just what dire straits Boom are in by how little that ult does. Obviously, it's an execute, it scales based on missing HP, but it should be doing more than that.
Hoping to see the Evelyn come online. We've seen it come and been played a little bit in the WCK, I believe, TJ. It was an interesting pickup. Not quite able to find the returns here this game, though.
It works if you can get snowballing, but Zhao is so far behind. Shiba is so far behind where you need to be, having just completed Rabadon, not having the boots. They're basically only going to be useful as a cleanup crew.
Here we go. Nice flash away for Kinemon to survive and stay alive for as long as he can. Try to buy some time with the rest of his team. They're back in it. They're joining into the fight. And Gov looking to flash away to get back to safety, but they already picked up Tufts.
And you can't take these skirmishing fights. You cannot take a 3v3 versus BURIRAM. It's never going to be a 3v3. Shiba arrives, and what's more, even if you do get a fair 3v3, all your damage is here in the mid lane, desperately trying to hold on to the turret and failing.
Yeah, and it also looks like they're trying to hold on to the lives of the bot side, but they're failing that too, as every lane is gonna get broken. Open minion waves being escorted in, the Baron buff minions crashing in, flooding into the base. Boom Esports don't have a way to stop this. Owens is alive, but he's not gonna be alive for much longer. He jumps back in, gonna die as the Nexus falls.